The Warp, a psychic miasma that exists behind reality in the universe of Warhammer 40k. It's a churning maelstrom of energy and emotions that is the origin of all sorcerous power, as well as the key to interstellar travel. It's an incredibly important part of the Warhammer setting, and something really cool. Its influence is pernicious, and with time, anything within the Warp will change and mutate into something new. In this video, I'm going to make a piece of Warhammer terrain that's been touched by the Warp. I've taken an old technique and made it new again, and I think it ended up really cool. Let me show you what I've done. I started this project with a base, a piece of PVC board that measures 9 inches by 5 inches. This is a deliberate constraint that I've set for myself. I have a habit of making pieces of terrain that are ridiculously large. 9 by 5 is the size of some of the official Warhammer tournament terrain, so I thought it would be a fun challenge to stay within this size. Now, one of the most iconic pieces of Warhammer terrain is the L ruin, a simple L-shaped corner of a ruined building. It's really functional to play on and is a classic for a reason, but after a while it can get a bit samey. I wanted to add some architectural detail that makes this feel a bit more interesting than just a plain corner. To accomplish this, I started by mocking up my basic shape using some Foamcore Board. I used just a few drops of hot glue to hold it together at this stage, and you'll see why shortly. Using a 1/2 inch strip of foam core, I make a 4-inch section of the wall more prominent towards the corner. Just this one small change will change the profile of the whole building in a profound way, making it more interesting and realistic. To add even more variation, I decided to make the section on the left slightly raised as well, with a few stairs between the levels. I think this will make the interior a much more compelling space, but still allow plenty of flat surfaces for the models to stand on. Foam core is 3/16 of an inch thick, or roughly 5 millimeters, which also makes a pretty decent stair height, so making a staircase is as easy as stacking a few layers of foam core. I used the edge of a spare piece to make sure that the treads are an even width as I glue it all together. I used a small stack of scrap pieces opposite the stairs on the other side of the platform to give it a consistent height. And there you have my little platform. Nice. Using the mocked up walls as a guide, I glue the platform down into the correct position on the base. Simple as. To maintain my 9 by 5 footprint, I cut a jagged line across the piece, indicating the ruined edge of the building. With my base locked in, I disassemble my mocked up walls. This causes a small amount of cosmetic damage, but it won't be noticeable later, you'll see. On my now flat wall sections, I can easily cut out some windows and details. One of the lovely things about scratch building is it gives you a chance to really connect with and appreciate the design of the world around us in a profound way. Small architectural elements like Gothic arches that you might have never thought twice about are actually elegant and simple expressions of ingenuity in mathematics. Let me show you what I mean. To make an arch, I start by drawing parallel lines. I find the middle point between the two lines, then with the compass I can easily draw a basic arch. To make a Gothic arch, I simply move the needle point to the edge. If I want to make an even steeper pointed arch, I simply move the needle even further out on that same line. I know I've showed this before, but I think it's so cool that it's worth repeating. So, with a Gothic arch that I'd cut before onto some chipboard, I trace out the shape on my ruin, creating the outline of a large window. With a very sharp blade, I follow that line, cutting out a nice big aperture. This will be a huge focal point on the model, so I make sure I have a nice fresh sharp blade before cutting. Nice. On the other wall, I mark out where the stairs stop, then using a smaller jig I trace some more Gothic arches to be a bank of windows near ground level. I leave a 1-inch gap from the floor, as that'll make a nice sill for guys to peek over. With those cuts made, I reassemble the building. This was maybe a bit premature, but it didn't matter. I glue the walls into the correct placement, making sure everything lines up straight. Now, the building is still looking quite plain, but with some strips of foam core, I start adding some details. These will further help to break up the flat shapes and make this building look more interesting, as well as providing the hint of some architectural intentionality. I add strips flanking the window, thickening up the corners, and then I add some strips vertically between the windows to look like buttresses. I detailed the interior this way as well, which goes a long way to making it look more interesting from both sides. Doing things in threes is a great way to save time because some details, like this one on the exterior wall here, aren't measured. I simply put one strip on each side, and then one centered in the middle, and it looks as regular and even as if it were meticulously measured and planned. To add some further detail, I cut some strips with a 45-degree bend at the end, and glued them into the center of these pieces for another style of buttress detail. Very quick, but looks pretty nice. On the inside, I added some buttress detail as well, but only up to a certain height, because I decided that I wanted to put a crumbling balcony or walkway up here. I thought that would add another element to this build that would make it extra cool. I added some small lengths of foam core with a 45-degree angle on it here too to look like support for the balcony, which mirrors the outside buttresses nicely. At this point, I realized I should probably put some windows up here as well, so I traced a 1-inch high line and then traced those outlines. As you can see, it's considerably more awkward to cut windows after the building is assembled because you can't lay it flat, but I got it done anyways. Since the top of this building is cut off and ruined, I didn't bother carving the tops of the arches. I added some more strips for thickness and detail, different to the ground level, to leave more space on the walkway. I also added a large interior arch detail on the wall here to make it feel less like a blank wall and more like the interior of some grand space. This also adds thickness to the walls, which makes it feel more solid and realistic. I next chopped down the building into a reasonably pleasing and natural looking ruin shape. To further make the windows stand out, I added some more strips of foam core below them. For a project like this, you can see that most of it is coming together from strips of uniform thickness. If you pre-cut a bunch of strips of various thicknesses before starting, it's easier to make on-the-fly design decisions, and it's very gratifying. At this point, I used a sharp blade to hack away at the top of the ruin, giving it an uneven ruin shape. So, up to this point, this looks like a very standard Imperial ruin, but here's where we're going to start adding a touch of the warp. I thought that perhaps after a millennia in the warp, the yawning mouth of this window would start to transform into an actual mouth, with a demonic face pushing out of the walls around it. To build up the face, I added a thick brow and cheekbones made of scrunched up aluminum foil, and then I covered everything in hot glue. It looked really bad at first, and I was starting to wonder if I'd made a big mistake, but we'll get back to that in a moment. Let's take a moment to look at today's sponsor, Into the AM. Into the AM makes high-quality graphic shirts, denim, and basics. Into the AM is currently having a big site-wide sale running from the 26th of March to April 6th with up to 60% off site-wide. The shirts are screen printed and they're soft and comfortable, and I really enjoy them. So check out Into the AM. They've got a great range of high-quality clothes, and as I mentioned before, they're currently having a site-wide sale of up to 60% off that runs until April 6th. Use the link in my description now to get in on that. Thanks Into the AM for sponsoring this video. Here's the part that's going to make the whole rest of the building look like it's under the influence of the warp. I started coating the whole thing in hot glue. Every face, every column, every ledge, every surface. I pumped it on generously, and where necessary, I smoothed it with the hot nozzle of my glue gun. On large faces, I made an effort to make some swirling patterns while the glue was still hot. As it dries, the glue will flow and run a little bit, making the building look like it was melted, or is beginning to change in some unknown way. The key here is not to allow any telltale beads of glue to form. You want large areas of this melty texture, not a bunch of hot ropes piled on top of each other. This means completely covering one small area before moving on to the next. Yes, this took a lot of hot glue. I didn't count exactly how many sticks, but you can buy them in huge bags by the hundreds for pretty cheap, so it was still reasonably cost effective. I've linked all the materials I used on this project in the description box below, so if you want to try this project yourself and need some materials, those links will give me a small commission with no extra cost to you. Above the inside of the large window, I attempted to create an almost fleshy stretching and wrinkling by moving the hot tip of my glue gun in arcs that mirror the arch of the window. For flatter areas, like the edge of the wall here, I spread the glue around with the side of the glue gun, getting a nice even coating. I covered the rough edges as well, which did a nice job of hiding the layers of foam core and unifying the piece together. On this interior arch, I did a ton of crazy swirls and loops. I briefly considered making this whole area into a big portal, but I decided to go into a different direction. Still, I think this pattern turned out pretty cool. To add some more detail to the interior walkway, I added some railing bits that I had lying around from a previous project. These are 3D printed, but you could easily use something else here. These Lego railings, for example, would make a good alternative. I added some small ridges on the underside of the balcony as well, just for a little bit more detail. The face was looking a bit strange, so I added a bit of cardboard to the interior of the arch to give the mouth a bit of an upper lip. This will support some more hot glue, giving the face the look of screaming more than just like an old guy with no teeth about to gum something down. I don't know. The way the glue is translucent, it's almost impossible to tell what this will look like when it's painted. We'll see, I guess. I decided not to put hot glue all over the floor, so I instead applied Mod Podge for a bit of subtle detail and to seal up the edges of the stairs. Nice. Well, it's looking pretty cool so far, but the hot glue has left some of these unsightly telltale stringy bits all over the model. With the flame from a lighter, I gently pass over those bits and they melt away quickly. If you're a kid watching this, don't do this without adult supervision. Hold the flame too long in one place and this whole thing could melt or burn. I put a few rocks in this hole down here, partially for weight and partially for their nice rough texture. I also sprinkled some sand and coarse gravel around the edges, which will give some much needed fine detail and scale. Because of the hot glue gun, this whole piece is looking kind of rounded and chunky, and this will help tie the piece into a miniature world again. Once the rocks and sand were where I wanted them, I locked them in place with some thin super glue, which is a super useful tool but also a total nightmare to work with. It flows everywhere, and it also has a thermic reaction when it's drying sometimes, and it can get really hot and start melting when you put it on, so you gotta be careful with it. For the outside edge, I put down a piece of paper and used some hot glue to build up a transition to the ground that looks more natural, and pressed some small rocks in while it dried. With some sand and super glue, this will make a nice durable and detailed transition at ground level, and once everything's dry, I can cut it with a sharp knife, leaving a nice edge. I found these little chaosy gargoyle bits in my bits box, and I added them to the balcony for a bit of extra character. Why not? I also placed a few skulls around the place, just to tie the room together. Nice. And here it is, ready for paint. It's heavily glazed in hot glue, as you can see, and it looks kind of crazy. I have no idea if the face is going to look alright, but I guess we'll see. So I took it outside and primed it black, and dude, this looks kind of sick. I mean, the face has more texture than I thought it would, but I think it's pretty workable. I don't think the satin finish of the spray paint is doing it any favors though, so let's paint it and see if we can make it look any cooler. I start by giving it a heavy airbrush of matte black, partially to catch any areas the spray paint might have missed, but partially to knock back the shine for a nice matte finish. With that done, I come in with some dark gray and start adding a bit of highlight to areas that would catch more light and that I want to draw more attention to. As the face gets highlighted with lighter and lighter grays, it starts to actually look pretty cool. It's not perfect, but it's a lot more like what I had envisioned. With the edge of a large flat brush, I did some chunky edge highlights too, adding some more definition to the architectural work that we did earlier on. At this point, it's looking extremely cool, but I have one more fun detail to add. See, I've been working on some Emperor's Children models, and for those of you who aren't familiar, before falling to chaos, the Emperor's Children were part of the Great Crusade, mankind's reconquering of the galaxy. With them were artists, sculptors, and poets who were supposed to spread the culture of humanity to the worlds that they liberated. But as the Emperor's Children fell to the warping power of Slanesh, the god of excess, these artists on board their ships were affected too. In the novel Fulgrim, there are some particularly disturbing descriptions of the horrifying and degenerate art that these artists made as the warp infected their minds. So I thought it would be fun to have a really psycho painting here. For a frame, I'm going to use this little 3D printed one that I had on hand, but tiny picture frames are actually quite easy to come by thanks to Dollhouse enthusiasts, and you can find tons of options for pretty cheap on Amazon. I'll link some below. I painted the frame with a mix of dark brown and gold paint to get a nice burnished look. Now, actually painting a tiny painting could easily take as long as the rest of the project put together, and since I just got a new color printer, I'm going to try it out here. I found a suitable image I liked, cropped it to the dimensions of the picture frame, then printed it out and glued it in. I gave the picture frame a little dry brush of gold and a dark wash, then sprayed everything with varnish for durability. I added a few extra grisly details to the painting, a bright pop of extra blood, then used some thin glazes of brown to add some filth and streaking around the edges of the image. I took a chunky brown paste and smeared it on. I'm just following the books, okay? And then some more splatters of blood and some other mysterious stains as well. When all is said and done, it looks suitably degenerate and disturbing. Hell yeah. And that's it. I hung the painting on the wall and it really transforms the space from a blasted ruin into a suitably baroque and twisted hall for the Emperor's Children to hang out in. This is one of my favorite pieces I've made in a really long time, and the whole thing is just 9x5, as I said earlier. While the outside is cool, the inside is damn near a diorama, and I think I've stumbled on a way to make basic L ruins into something far cooler than I ever thought they were before. As usual, a huge thank you to all of my patrons for supporting this channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll see you next time on Eric's Hobby Workshop.